Alright guys, welcome back. It's me, Daniel with VintageMagic.com. Hope you guys had a great New Year's. It's Friday. Today is another exciting Finance Friday, and I have a very important topic, so let's jump right into it. Alright, so I was asked a question by several community members because apparently Heritage Auctions, that is HA.com, apparently is trying to infiltrate and sell Magic the Gathering collectibles and artwork on a more, I would say more of a consistent basis. I wouldn't say mainstream, but more consistently. Heritage Auctions, for those of you who do not know what it is based out of Dallas, Texas, and they are the third largest auction house in the world. They have auctioned, I think, some high-end baseball cards, memorabilia, Americana items. I think they recently auctioned the PSA 9 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle card. Sold for almost, I think it was $2.88 million with buyer's premium. And that was one of the, I think, the highest sale on auction so far. So let me explain to you guys, kind of my feelings. I have mixed feelings about the whole situation. And so I think there's a lot of benefits to it. I also think there's a lot of negative towards it, or just concerns, I would say. Let's go right into the benefits. Number one, if I was a buyer, speaking of a buyer in Heritage, I would be very happy to have their professionalism. They have a great customer service. They have a decent website. They obviously can record a lot of the collection buying that you're purchasing, the items you're purchasing, and you can track them. They are an auction house. They also have catalog auctions, so you can have some of the hard copy collectible aspect of the auction versus like an eBay where it's only electronic. I think they have what you call like a 5-minute rule or 10-minute rule, where basically if you were bidding on the auction, it's not a sniping situation on Heritage. You can essentially keep bidding until the auction between the two bidders, or the bidders are left, until the auction essentially ends. So I think that as a buyer is a cool thing, because you essentially won't lose to a sniping situation. You have the chance to really increase your bid. If you really want the item, you can really go for it. I also think, they have a wide selection of different type of collectibles. So it's not just comics and sports cards, but they have like fine art, they have pottery, they have historical items. It doesn't matter what you're looking for. They're just like a Sotheby's or a Christie's, but they're generally not doing the fine art as much. They're more about the Americana, the collectibles. They're definitely a nice conglomerate. Now, they're not publicly traded, but they do have a great kind of a management staff and a customer service staff, which really works well. Now, I say that because, some auction houses, they kind of have like a mom and pop thing going on. It's not as, I would say, just focused on, I think when you have a smaller operation, you tend to have a situation where you don't have as much resources and you're tied to different kind of projects, and it may or may not be the best customer service experience. From what I've seen with Heritage, they're really good with customer service, so I'll give them an A+ on that. Now, as far as, Magic the Gathering, though, this is my negative side of the buyer's part of it, is I'm not really convinced that they're going to get the selection. And I think actually, you know what? I'm going to back up. I think my biggest problem with Heritage doing the auctions, it has to be the buyer's premium. As a buyer of items, and I buy an eBay or, TCG Player or whatever, there's no premium. There's no buyer's premium. What that means is, let's say an item sells for $1,000 and the buyer's premium is, I think it's 20%. 20%. I want you buyers to get the calculator out on this one, because that is $1,200 you will be paying. A $200 buyer's premium on a $1,000 item. I want that to sink into your budget, considering the fact that I think there's now these new tax laws and stuff for internet purchases that are occurring. I think it's called a use tax or the nexus tax. I will discuss that in another video, by the way, because eBay is now charging that tax. So Heritage, I believe, has requirements to charge sales tax, even though they are based out of Dallas, Texas. And also, I believe they have offices in New York, LA, Chicago, some like in all over the world. So there's different taxes and sales tax they're going to have to charge if you live in those locations. So the idea of tax, but the idea of a buyer's premium makes it very, very difficult as a buyer to actually find. You know, hold on a second. Nick's going crazy. I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. Nick had a little bit of a problem with, he's addicted to these frosted mini wheats. There's a lot of nutritional things to them, but I think he just likes eating the frosted part, just like any other kid. But overall, it's pretty nutritious. All right, so back to the topic. As a buyer, the issue is you have this 20% buyer's premium on Heritage Auctions. And on top of that, you have sales tax or the use tax or nexus tax, whatever it's called, on top of that buyer's premium that you're going to have to consider paying. So as a buyer of collectibles and such, I mean, me as a business is a little different. I have a resale certificate, so I can basically not get charged a sales tax. But the buyer's premium, I'm not going to be able to negate because of the fact that that is Heritage's, part of Heritage's commission. Now, let me explain to you why that really is detrimental to a buyer. Because the issue here is, obviously, from a financial position, you're going to be asking yourself, why am I paying 20% more for an item I can just buy on eBay with no buyer's premium? Yeah. Why am I doing that? Is it the fancy catalog? Is it the fancy website? Is it the free mochaccino crappuccinos they give you? They give you free foot massage and, you know, whatever? No. Facials? No. It's not like that. All they're doing is they're providing, they're supposedly supposed to provide a premium service, great marketing, provide you premium products as a buyer, not a seller standpoint, to basically give you kind of the competitive, a nice wide range of selection. Now, let's talk about it as a seller standpoint. Okay, you want to go here? A seller standpoint. If I was a seller on Heritage, right, and I was looking to sell on Heritage, they also charge a commission for selling on Heritage. That commission, I have not got the exact official number, but I believe it ranges anywhere from 5 to 15%. So I want you guys to do some simple math there. The Heritage is basically making around 25 to 35%, and 20% of it is always charged to the buyer. Pardon my French, but that's pretty fucked up, honestly. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't make money, which I understand they have resources, they have expenses, they have overhead, they have an ivory tower in Dallas, Texas. They have multiple offices. I think they have one in Beverly Hills, in New York City, whatever. I understand that. The problem I have with that is use your brain, guys. In the world, the demographic of Magic the Gathering, the collectors of Magic the Gathering, we already have the following resources in line. Let's do a little count here. We have Amazon, Facebook, the mothership website, which is Wizards. We have eBay. We have TCG Player. We have all the vendors out there. We have Grand Prix Magic Festivals. Channel Fireball having their Magic Festival site. Lots of resources of linked URLs of multiple vendors with multiple products of different things. We also have YouTube. I forgot about YouTube. YouTube, people sell and promote things all the time. So ask yourselves, as a seller, why are you paying Heritage to basically, sell your items when you could do it yourself for, I guess, less commission? Wait a second, Dan. They're only charging me 5 to 15%. Doesn't eBay charge like 9% and capped at $250? So it's about the same. And also it's my time. I'm not a professional. They have more resources. They have more network out there. They have more people that will sign up and bid. They have a wider network than eBay. Oh, that's what it is. That's the second part. Network. Unfortunately, Heritage has a dilemma. Their buyer pool requires them to register on another website, get authenticated, this was, by the way, a pain in the rear end. For me to get authenticated to sign up on Heritage, you had to provide a credit card. Their website was a little funky monkey, so it was hard to get it done right. I finally was able to do it. But long story short, it just wasn't as powerful as eBay. eBay has their little app, that you can bid on real time. That's very quick. Heritage, I believe, has some type of app functionality or website functionality, but there's limited options. And also on the last kind of the 5-minute rule, 10-minute rule bidding or whatever, it's not as good as people think. In fact, people have told me when bidding on some of the like fantasy art or other comic art on Heritage, it's been difficult to actually make those bids, and they've had issues with the technology itself. But as a seller, think about this. You need to understand that your reach, your scope, if you're paying a fee, that is what you're paying for. Your fee is paying for that. And remember, as a seller, the buyers are not stupid. They're paying 20% more than the eBay item or whatever item on Facebook, right? So ask yourselves this. Is the price that I'm really getting a world record top-end price? Yes, for certain categories. But what I call Magic the Gathering, when I think about Magic the Gathering on Heritage, I think of it almost as a startup that has yet to be proven. It's a startup that doesn't make money. It's a startup that hasn't actually sold items on a consistent basis with a consistent following, with a consistent network, with high-quality, top-tier items. We're not talking about crappy, like, by the way, no offense, but there was like a Vulcan Baga piece that I think it sold for like $3 to $4 grand. And this sparked actually some interest on the Magic art market, where people were complaining and saying, oh, this Vulcan Baga piece just sold for less than we thought it would be. It's like $3,500. Should have went for at least $5K, $5K, oh, $5K. Would have sold for $5K on the MTG art market. It was, way less on the Heritage. But here's the problem, guys. The problem is that there are people out there who have other items who want to sell other than Magic the Gathering, and they may want to sell their baseball cards or whatever, right? And they may have some extra Magic stuff. And so you do get those outliers that sell. But for the primary reason of purchasing and selling, Heritage has a lot to prove. My analogy that it's like a startup trying to make profit or show that kind of ability to prove itself, I'm not freaking kidding. It is going to be hard. It is probably one of the greatest uphill battles in the technology world that we see today in gaming. Because it is very easy for us as Magic the Gathering collectors to realize that it's a lot cheaper and less expensive and quicker to actually find an item through Facebook or different resources. You can also meet people at Grand Prix or Magic festivals and have dinners with them and see the cards in person. What is Heritage going to do to provide and justify a 20% buyer's premium or the 5 to 15% seller's premium if they're not able to actually market at those catered individuals? So I was told by community members that there's 1 or 2 community members that are kind of leading a charge, leading a crusade, the painting, to basically enlist art collectors and card sellers and whatever to sell on Heritage. I'm not sure if these individuals are getting commission. I'm pretty sure they are. They're not employees, they're contractors, but I would be very careful to say this. I feel that if you're going to actually have a company want to enlist, to attract people to sell items, I would not enlist contract people. I would actually market direct from Heritage Corporate and speak to vendors, speak to and have like maybe at Grand Prix or Magic festivals for 2019. Make sure you have the items maybe physically at those events and show them that they are, you know, these are the items we're selling, like kind of like in sports car world. But the problem with that is I know what Heritage is doing. They're trying to get these contractors, their minions, to basically prove that there is revenue growth, revenue potential, to prove that there are sales and there is demand, which I understand this. In a startup situation, you have to prove yourself. But I still think, I think the thing is, though, what's funny is there's nothing to prove. In the Magic world, there's hundreds of thousands, if not multiple millions, if not maybe $1 billion of like potential sales Heritage can capture in some way. Hundreds of millions for sure. But for them to go off and do it as through a few contractors, and this is what I was told by several people that have been solicited by the Heritage contracting type of squad, is that their biggest dilemma in this is kind of what I've said in the video, but it's kind of like, what can you offer? What can Heritage offer me as a consigner or a buyer that's different than what I already have? The tools that I have on my cell phone, on Facebook, on TCG Player, whatever, right? I go into a show and looking at an item and meeting vendors and seeing all those items right there in your face. What does Heritage, how can Heritage prove themselves? So I've shared with you in this video on this Finance Friday the positives, and you know, there are great positives. There's potential to this. And some of the negatives or concerns or challenges. And I still think it's going to take about a few years out to actually pull this off. Or if they actually want to accelerate this, if I was working at Heritage, I would use my suggestion and take it seriously, like get a marketing campaign from your corporate office to actually solicit consigners at Grand Prix. Showcase items that you're actually going to have on your next auction, you know, in cases or whatever, so buyers can be attracted and see them all over the world. Lots of Grand Prix, Magic Fest to go do. Excuse me. Then I would obviously do the typical newsletter thing, YouTube videos, different, less expensive marketing tools to basically showcase Magic, get involved in the collectibles world. I also think it's important to get involved with some of the bigger dealers and bigger collectors and bigger, just bigger names in the industry, experts. One of the things that I find Heritage to be very good about is that they have experts in like comics and coins and sports memorabilia, stuff like that. But they have no experts in Magic the Gathering. And the two people that they have contracted, while they can call themselves experts, I don't think are necessarily the best experts you can find. I don't think that having two random people that are actually working for Heritage, let me be careful with this, working for them and actually, hey, I have a vested interest to actually make this, see this through. Heritage is committing their resources, say, hey, we have these as employees. We're hiring these people. We are backing these people. Not like, hey, no, we're contracting you to see how this may or may not go. This may not work. So we're just going to give you a contract, maybe some commission if it works. I think the right approach is to make them employees, to make the people you have hired, whoever they are, actual involvement and create, they call it the TCG, the trading card game sector of Heritage Auctions. All right, guys, I hope you guys found this video helpful. I appreciate all you guys. And by the way, the essay contest is pretty much done for the finalists. I was supposed to pick 3 of them. I ended up picking 7. 7 finalists. I will be reading their essays this January, and I'll probably be selecting the winner probably next week and contacting that winner. It was very hard. I think I got almost 70 essays, very well written. It was pretty hard to select it, guys. So I hope you guys appreciate all the content coming out. I hope you guys had a great holiday. Happy New Year. Put in your comments below what you think about the Heritage auctions. Is it good for Magic? Is it bad for collectors? You know, what are some things that you got to work on? What are some of the challenges? What are some of the upside? Talk about it. I want to talk to you guys about it more. Take care. Have a nice day.